Okay, good morning to everyone. Still no improvement in the account, no problem. Shall we start our discussion? Anyone can respond. Hello.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm Shiva. I'm working as a
Yes,
assistant
sir.
professor in our EC department. So now I'm going to deal LICA, linear integrated circuit, in this sem for you people. So before going to see what is LICA, we should know why we need to learn and what we can learn through this subject. Okay. So if you have in previous semesters we have been completed ADC and ECA, electronic circuit applications. So if you see what are the different types of transistors. So what are the different types of transistors means we have BJTs, FETs and MOS transistors. So if you see different types of BJTs are bipolar junction transistors are only PNP transistor and NPN transistors. And what are the we have different types of FETs. FET transistor is nothing but field effect transistor. So working of both BJTs and F is quite opposite. While BJT, bipolar junction transistor, is a current controlled current source, whereas FET is nothing but voltage controlled current source. Even though both transistors are current sources, but FET is controlled by voltage source, whereas BJT is controlled by current sources. Where if you see in BJT's current will flow because of minority carriers as well as majority carriers. But in FET only current flow will happen only because of majority carriers. So there are a lot of advantages over the BJTs, lot of advantages of FETs. So there are two types of FETs. One is JFET junction, and the other one is MOSFETs. So MOSFETs mostly used in digital applications. I think all of you know aware of what is digital system and how the digital system will work. Okay, examples for a digital system is our mobile phone, our laptop. Also, all these are digital systems, and they will build with help of MOS transistors, just like complementary metal oxide semiconductors, CMOS. So all these applications we are going to find in our DECA subject. I think digital integrated circuit design. Okay, so now we are going to find here. So every applications are built around BJTs only. Okay, so BJTs are used in most of the analog ICs, whereas the CMOS FET transistors are used in digital ICs. So that is the basic difference between linear integrated circuits and digital IC design, digital integrated circuits design. Hope you got everyone. Hello.
Yes, sir.
It is fine now. Are you clear with this one?
Yes, sir.
sir.
So BJTs are mostly used for analog applications only, whereas the CMOS used for digital ICs only because of advantages of CMOS over the BJT. Switching action is very fast while comparing very fast of FET transistors while comparing with the BJTs. So now we are going to see how the different ICs or analog ICs can be constructed with help of BJTs or analog devices. So before going to see what is, we should know what is integrated circuit, what is IC. So if you see diode simply made with the help of two materials. What are they? P-type material and N-type material. So if you add these two materials, what happened? Obviously diode will form. And what are the functionalities of diodes? Diode will work as a switch, and it can in its reverse bias it can offer in a highest more impedance or more resistance. It can offer a lot of resistance in its reverse bias, in its forward bias, then it can work as switch. So if you are adding two materials, we are having different applications. So if you add one more layer to this one, that is PNP, which is nothing but PNP transistor. Or else if you are taking three layers NPN, so with these three layers, which device will form? Transistor will form. Hello.
Sir.
Everyone, you should say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Without giving me reply, how can I know you're on the class or not? Okay. Everyone should respond when I put on your questions. Okay. Just like I'm not put on your questions. I'm taking confirmation from you. Okay. Please respond.
Okay, sir.
Hello. So if you had three layers, we can make transistor, NPN transistor, PNP transistor. So if you see what are the advantages of transistors. So transistor works as a inverter. So if you provide a high signal in input, so what will happen? Obviously, in output, it will invert to 180 degrees. I think this type of applications we have found in ECA lab, electronic circuit analysis lab. If input is given, sinusoidal given, what will happen? Output obviously will shift into 180 degrees. So basically, NPN transistor, PNP transistor, and BJTs, bipolar junction transistors, will work as inverters. And what are the other advantages? In it, if you are operating it in cutoff region, it will work as open circuit. If you are operating in a saturation region, it will act as short circuit. So in switching applications also we can use BJTs. And what are the another major advantage of BJTs? We can use it as amplifier in its active region. Okay, so to make these applications, we need to operate transistor in particular point only. Means we need to provide some sort of voltage, input voltage and input currents. So that values are nothing but Q-check values are operating points. Then we can use different we can use BJTs in different applications. So by adding three layers, we are getting this much of advantages. So if you are add more and more layers, means P-type material, N-type material, again P-type material, again N-type material, again P-type material. So by adding different layers, we will have more applications. So if you want to get a diode, so we can make it contact from P-type to N-type material. If you want to get NPN transistor, we can take out three layers only. If you see, you just wait. I will show you one diagram for integrated circuit. See here, are you able to get my screen? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the way how integrated circuit can be built. Means circuit already designed within a chip for different applications. So contacts will take out like this. So we have different types of pins of ICs. ICs may having 5 pins, or ICs may having 10 pins. ICs may having 40 pins. If you take microcontroller, it is having 40 pins. If you take microprocessor, it is also having 40 pin IC. So these ICs are nothing but a group different layers of semiconductor devices put on one by one. So from that we can take one point contact will terminate out. So this is the way how IC will form. So What are the advantages of ICs? Means if you construct a amplifier, by using breadboard we can easily convert amplifier by using different types of resistors, capacitors, BJTs. So all this, if you make connections absolutely correctly, then it will work as amplifier. But if you make it as IC, so no need to connections. Simply we can give input and we can take output. So no more breadboard connections will be required. That will be the advantages of ICs. So connecting time also will reduce. I think got it or not, everyone? Integrated circuit is nothing but it is already designed circuit where most of the applications are integrated into the single chip. So in our linear integrated circuit, how the analog ICs will we can learn how the different types of analog ICs will be designed. In that, what is the primary applications? Primary IC we are going to learn about is operational amplifier, which we will see in our second unit. But in our first unit, we can see what are the different building blocks of operational amplifiers. So our operational amplifiers are any analog integrated circuits. Differential amplifier is the basic amplifier which we are going to use in any integrated circuits. Is that clear, all of you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is fine. Screen not visible. Okay, now it is okay?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. So these are the contents in our first unit: a differential amplifier and a DC analysis and AC analysis of dual input and balanced input configurations, properties of different amplifier configurations, and DC coupling and cascade amplifiers and level translator. So if you see, differential amplifier is nothing but it can take two inputs and produces output is nothing but difference of two inputs. So it is having two terminal inputs. One is representing with plus, another one is representing with negative symbol. So negative symbol is indicating inverted input and positive signal indicating non-inverting input. Non-inverting input means whatever the signal we are applying, we can take it into the as it is the, if you are applying sine signal, so it can take it as sinusoidal signals. Inverting signal means if you are applying sinusoidal signal, it can invert into the cosinusoidal or another form of signals. So it will invert the input and apply to the output. So differential amplifier is nothing but it can produces the output from difference of both inputs. So that is what differential amplifier. So differential amplifier symbol will be like this. So two terminals will out. One is with non-inverting terminal and another one is inverting terminal, and this terminal is nothing but output terminal. So if you see basics of a differential amplifier. So differential amplifier is a DC coupled amplifier that amplifies the differences between two input signals, and it is the building block of, already I told you, analog integrated circuits and amplifiers and operational amplifiers. And one of the important features of a differential amplifier is that its output is always proportional to the difference of two input signals what we are applying. One is at inverting terminal and another one is non-inverting terminal. So output is proportional to V1 minus V2. So this property is also very useful to nullify the noise. So differential gain. So I think everyone know about gain. Gain is nothing but output by input signal. So gain is always it is a ratio So, but in differential amplifiers, we are going to take differential amplifiers. Differential gain. So, differential gain is always equals to V naught. V naught is nothing but output, but input is nothing but V1, difference of two input signals, V1 minus V2. So, obviously, AD is nothing but differential gain. So, differential gain AD is always equals to V naught by V1 minus V2. So, that is also we can represent it as V naught equals to AD, A suffix D, sorry. So differential gain AD so output of differential amplifier V naught is equals to differential gain AD into difference of two inputs V1 minus V2. So differential amplifier is also working in another mode, that is nothing but common mode, just like how BJT will works in three different modes, three different configurations. What are the three different configurations for BJTs? We can use it. Very good, very good. We can use it as a common base configuration, and we can use it as common emitter configuration, and we can use it as a common collector configuration. Like the way differential amplifiers also will work in two modes. One is the differential mode, where differential mode is nothing but output is directly proportional to the difference of two inputs, where in common mode output is directly proportional to the sum of the two signals. So output is nothing but here VC equals to common mode input is nothing but sum of two inputs V1 plus V2 by 2. Therefore, output equals to V naught equals to AC. Again, this is AC is nothing but common mode gain, A suffix C. So if you want to get the output V naught, so V naught equals to AC into VC, where C is nothing but common signal, so which is equals to sum of two, average of two signals. So obviously common gain, common mode gain is equals to AC equals to V naught by VC. So therefore, total output of any differential amplifier also defined as V naught equals to AD into PD plus AC into VC. Why? Because if you are using a differential amplifier as a differential amplifier, then what will become? AC will become obviously 0. Common mode will become 0. So if you are using only as in common mode, what will happen? AD will get nullified. So while using in differential amplifiers, is there any common nature that can be nullified? Is that clear, all of you? Only difference of input signals only will provided in its output. Hello, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So here, so how to use a particular a particular differential amplifier in its common mode or in differential mode. So we can fix it by using one term that is nothing but common mode rejection ratio. So common mode rejection ratio is nothing but the ability of differential amplifier to reject the common mode signals. So if you want to use amplifier as a differential amplifier, so differential amplifier is the best. While comparing with common mode, differential mode is the acceptable in any in any integrated circuits. So in order to revert the common mode, we are going to use one ratio that is nothing but common mode ratio. So common mode ratio is nothing but that is also represented as CMRR, common mode rejection ratio. So CMRR is nothing but ratio of differential amplifier, gain of differential amplifier by gain of common mode, gain in common mode. Next one, what are the features of differential amplifiers? So differential amplifier should provide very high gain voltage, and it should having very low for rejection mode, and but ratio should be very high. See here two features which are very we should see or we should watch very clearly. Here we should have very low common mode rejection signals, but ratio should be very high. That means if you see in previous, so this is the ratio of AD by AC. Means here AC gain should be very less. Then only this common mode rejection ratio will become high. If denominator is low, obviously entire value will become increased. So what its features are, it is having low common mode rejection. Means it should have very low AC common mode. It should have very less common mode gain, and it should have very high gain differential gain. Common mode gain should be very less and differential mode gain should be very high. Then only by make that arrangements only we can get high CMR. Any differential amplifier should have high CMRR, common mode rejection ratio. So that is possible only by having very less common gain. Is that clear, all of you? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as usual, already I told you it is having two input terminals and high input impedance. So what are the advantages of high input impedance and low output impedance? If you take any transistor, what are the advantages? A transistor should have very high input impedance and transistor should have very low output admittance. So output impedance. So what are the advantage? Why we should make this type of arrangements? Can anyone? If you justify transistor is a good transistor, it should have high input impedance and you should have low output impedance. What is the reason behind it? Can anyone? Hello? Okay. You don't worry, I will explain. So already I told you BJT is a current source. Current source in this means what is resistance or impedance? What resistor will do? Can anyone at least answer to this question? What resistor will do?
It opposes the current.
It opposes the flow of current.
Resistivity.
So in everyone know that gain is nothing but what is current gain? Output current by input current. So input current, input signal should be very less. So when it is possible, only having high input impedance. Is that clear, all of you? If you make transistor is a high gain transistor, we should make it input signal should be very less and output signal should be very high. So output signal when current if in output less impedance is there, so obviously current will increase. Means obviously output current will increase. If input impedance is high, what will happen? Input current will become low. So if input current will become low, gain is obviously increases. Is that clear, all of you? Current gain. What is current gain formula? Output current by input current. Input current means if denominator is less value, what will happen? Ratio will increase. Ratio in the sense gain will obviously will increase. So this is possible only by using high input impedance. Similar the way we should have high output current. This is possible by having less output impedance. Is that clear, all of you? ఏమో అర్థం కావట్లేదేంటి? అట్లీస్ట్ రెస్పాండ్ కూడా అవ్వట్లేదు.
Yes, sir.
నేను చెప్పేది ఏంటి అర్థం కాలేదేంటి? ఒక ట్రాన్సిస్టర్ కి గెయిన్ ఎక్కువగా ఉండాలంటే, కరెంట్ గెయిన్ ఎక్కువ ఉండాలంటే ఏం చేయాలి? గెయిన్ ఫార్ములా ఏంటో చూసుకోండి.
ఇన్పుట్ కరెంట్ ఇంక్రీజ్ చేయాలి సార్.
ఇన్పుట్ కరెంట్ ఇంక్రీజ్ చేయాలి. నువ్వు డైరెక్ట్గా వెళ్ళిపోకమ్మా, చెప్పు. What is formula? Formula for current gain. Output current by input current. In gain, input current is always in denominator. So if denominator value is low, what happen? Obviously gain will increase. Is that clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
So we should have less input current. So in order to have less input current, we are going to make input impedance is high. So that is the only way to reduce the input signal. To have high output current, it is possible by having less output impedance. Gain, if you take gain formula, gain equals to output by output current by input current. Is that clear, all of you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And one more features of differential amplifier is large bandwidth. So what is bandwidth? This is also you might have known. What is bandwidth? I think everyone did common mode amplifier, common base amplifier, common emitter amplifier, and a common collector amplifier. Did you made the experiments on this one in ECLR? If you see, while writing, while doing lab or while using BJT as an amplifier, we are having two particular frequencies. What are the in that frequencies only it can works as amplifier. That first frequency is nothing but lower cutoff frequency. Next one is nothing but higher cutoff frequency. In these two frequencies only, transistor will works as amplifier. So frequency lesser than lower cutoff frequency, transistor will not works as amplifier. Frequency greater than higher cutoff frequency, transistor will not works as amplifier. So the range of frequencies in which amplifier will works as, the range of frequencies in which transistor will works as amplifier is nothing but bandwidth. Simply saying that what is bandwidth? It is a range of frequencies where transistor will works as amplifier. If you see amplifier characteristics, it should be while initially it should be increasing and it will get flattened. After that, some particular frequency it will starts to decrease. So that is the way how graph of how amplifier for amplifier in any mode, common base or common collector, common emitter. Any mode amplifier should works like that only. So within the particular frequency range only it will works as amplifier. Otherwise, in remaining ranges it may be open circuit or it may be closed circuit. Is that clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
So yes, offset voltages for every transistor we should have very low offset voltages and offset currents. What are offset currents? So without having input only, sometimes some transistors will going to produce output. For every less signals also it is going to produce output. So offset voltages should be very less for a efficient transistor. So these are the features of differential amplifier. So differential amplifier, why we are learning about differential amplifier? Again, I am repeating. So this is the main building block in this analog IC devices or linear ICs. Clear, all of you? That is the reason why we are going to learn about differential amplifier while learning before operational amplifiers. Operational amplifier is the basic analog IC which we are going to see in next unit. So this is the transistorized block diagram of differential amplifier. If you see V in 1, it is a input 1. So how to construct a differential amplifier using transistors is presented in this. Everyone getting my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, here if you see V in 1 is nothing but input 1 which is we are using two transistors, namely Q1 and Q2. For Q2, another input signal is given V into, and these two emitters of two transistors are connected to common emitter resistor Re, and output taken across the two collectors V01 and V02, and both collectors are connected to VCC. Okay, this is the block diagram of this is the how differential amplifier can be constructed with help of BJTs. So next we can see differential. Again, this differential this differential amplifier can use in four configurations. So what are the four configurations? Input signal unbalanced, single input and unbalanced output. In the sense, if you see here, single input, so means obviously V2 will become 0. Unbalanced output, so we will see what will be the unbalanced output, and single input and balanced output. In unbalanced input, we are going to see first mode is single input and unbalanced output. Unbalanced output in the sense we are going to take output from either first transistor or second transistor, so that is called unbalanced output. Single input in the sense we are going to provide input to only one signal, only one input terminal. We are having, if you see previous slide, we are having two input terminals. What are they? V1 and V2. For V2 from second transistor, Vn1 from first transistor. So first mode is single input and unbalanced output. So we are providing input to the Vn1, then Vn2 is equals to 0. So we can take output from V1 or V2. So that is meaning of unbalanced output. So next mode is single input, balanced output. So here we can apply either input on either two terminals, either Vn1 or Vn2. We can apply input only one terminal, but we can take output from two terminals. That is nothing but if you are taking output from two terminals, that is nothing but balanced output. If you are taking output from only one terminal, that is nothing but unbalanced input. Okay, so third mode is dual input and unbalanced output. So in this configuration for this differential amplifier, after fixing amplifier in differential mode, not in common mode, we should clearly observe it. So the differential amplifier can work in two modes. What are they? Differential mode in common mode. So by using CMMR, we can make it particular differential amplifier will work as differential amplifier. In that differential amplifier, we are having again four modes. What are the four modes? Single input, unbalanced output, single input, balanced output, dual input, unbalanced output, dual input and balanced input. Is that clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
After fixing the differential amplifier in differential mode, not in common mode. Common mode will remove by fixing CMMR ratio. So once we are try to operate differential mode in differential mode, then we can use it in four ways. By providing input at different terminals or input at both terminals, or by taking output from single terminal or two terminals. So what are the different ways? Four ways here. So third one is dual input, unbalanced output. In the sense here we can have we can provide input to the both input terminals, and we can take output either from V1 or V2. Means first transistor or second transistor. In fourth mode is dual input and balanced output. So here we can apply input to the both terminals and we can take output from both terminals. So these are the four configurations in differential mode for differential amplifier. Clear, all of you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. See, in the block diagram, we can see it clearly. We can observe, we can watch it clearly. So what's happening in single input and balanced output? Unbalanced output? See here. Is it visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you observe clearly, we are applying input at Q1 transistor, that is V in 1. But at Q2 transistor is base of Q2 transistor is directly grounded. So we are not providing input to the Q2 transistor, but we are taking our output at Q2 transistor, but we are not considering output of Q1 transistor. So this is the mode of differential amplifier where we can use single input unbalanced output. Is that clear all of you? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you see to know the working of this mode, we should know the mesh laws, nodal analysis and mesh analysis from network analysis. So what are the different voltages? So first one VCC 1 voltage and RC1 into IC1 will be the another voltage, RC2 IC2 will be the another voltage, and V in 1 also we are having V in 1 to common emitter is also emitter. This is also we are having one loop, and here in common collector is also we are having one loop. So to know the working of this mode, we should know the mesh analysis, how to apply for mesh analysis and nodal analysis. Is that clear all of you? Not only for this one, to know about the 4 modes, we should know how to apply mesh analysis. Clear all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. See, this is the single input balanced output. Balanced output in the sense we are taking output from 2 terminals. Both transistors we are trying to take output. So that is one. Here V1 is applied V1 at V1 terminal or base of Q1 terminal we are applying V1 signal. Base of Q2 is directly grounded, but output is taken across QC2 and QC1. Collector of transistor 1 and collector of transistor 2. So both we are taking output at both terminals. So this is another configuration, single input and balanced output configuration. Third configuration is, see here, we are applying input to the both dual input and unbalanced output. Unbalanced output in the sense we are taking output from only one terminal. We are not considering 2 terminals to get the output. We can consider only single terminal to take the output. Like the way in fourth combination also, we are applying inputs to the both input terminals, and we are taking output from both terminals. Is that clear all of you? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Sir, yes, sir.
So next we can see the DC analysis of amplifier. So before going to this topic, everyone should tell me what is AC analysis and DC analysis of amplifiers. Can anyone? What is DC analysis or what is AC analysis? At least tell me what will happen in AC analysis or DC analysis. Hope you are all aware of it. We had completed the ECA, electronics and circuit analysis also. Hello.
Sir, చెప్పండి సార్.
Why should know the why should we analyze the why should know learn about DC analysis of a transistor? What is operating point of a transistor?
It performs the current and voltage.
What is operating points of transistor? Performing ఏంటమంటున్నా? Performing
Voltage
the
and current.
no.
Current
Can
and
anyone?
voltage.
If you are not able to fix the operational point, operating point, what will happen to the transistor? If you take here, we are having two transistors. Forget about Q2 transistor. So if you are removing Q2 transistor, so we are having only one path from VCC to RC1, IC1, again Q1 to RE. That is output path, and input path is source input RI1 and base to the again RE. Is that clear, all of you? So if you consider only single transistor here, so now how can I use this transistor as amplifier? So to use this transistor as an amplifier, what should we need to do? So we should apply only DC signal, that is nothing but VCC. VCC is a direct, it is not alternating source. Okay. I think how many of you know about RPS? What is RPS?
Regulated power supply.
Regulated power supply. So it is AC source or DC source?
DC.
AC.
AC, sir.
This is the regulated power supply.
DC.
Vamsi Gopal, DC. So many members are giving reply as AC source. So after opening the college, we will have complete analysis. Again, I think you got completed in EDC as well as in ECA. Regulated power supply will produce only DC signal. So DC. So VCC is a DC signal where we can apply DC signal at VCC terminal. Again, input terminal we can provide as AC source. So AC source can provided through which lab equipment we can use can provide AC source. What are the different devices available on your electronics lab to provide AC sources? Can anyone? Or else tell me what are the uses of functional the function generator is there? I don't need S. What is the purpose of function generator?
Giving input.
Which type of input?
Frequencies and
You made lot of experiments there. Frequency in the sense. For DC source, what is frequency? Frequency is always 0. We are providing frequency means what is frequency?
Input signal.
First tell me what is frequency. Number of cycles per second. Number of cycles existed means
per second.
Cycles existed means it is a purely AC source. So function generator is used to provide AC signal to our amplifiers. The RPS is used to provide DC source to our transistor or amplifier. Is that clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
If you again take your ECA record, there we can find our observation. There we can find amplifier circuit. In that amplifier circuit, we can in input we can connect to the function generator. In VCC we can connect RPS. So RPS is used to provide DC source only, DC signals only. So function generator is used to provide AC signals, but here all input signals in. So while coming to the DC analysis, we can connect to only DC source only. All input signals will become 0. Why we need to do DC analysis of amplifier is to fix the operating point. Without fixing operating point in output, we may get distortion. Distortion output in the sense we don't in that amplifier is not efficient. So in order to make any amplifier or any transistor make it efficient, we should make it as operating. We should fix the operating point. That operating point is always DC in middle of DC load line. I think you might have all these concepts completed in your EDC and DCA. So please read it again. Or else if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, operating point is always in the middle of DC load line. DC when we can have DC load line by providing only VCC source or VE source. VCC is positive, VE where negative is connected to emitter terminal. There we can fix ICQ and VCQ. After fixing ICQ and VCQ, we are moving to give input signals, means AC analysis of transistor. So similar like the way differential amplifiers also we are having AC analysis as well as DC analysis. So DC analysis is to fix the operating point, means in output there is no distortion has to be occur. So with help of DC analysis we can fix it operating point, and then we can later we can move to the AC analysis, means we can apply input either for single terminal or dual terminal. There we can use it as in 4 modes. What are the single mode, single input and unbalanced, single input and balanced, dual input and unbalanced, dual input and balanced output. After fixing of operating system only, we can use differential amplifier for AC analysis. AC analysis in the sense there we can apply input. Okay, so this is all about the DC analysis of differential amplifier. So in DC analysis, tomorrow we can complete DC analysis. See here, source resistance RS1, RS2. So we are in this block diagram, we are taking both source see here RS1 and RS2. So both both resistors here should be equal values. So after that, what are the other conditions? So every transistor is having Q value, Qset value in the sense both transistors should have equal operating points from voltage point of view as well as in current point of view, and both transistors should have equal emitter resistance RE1, RE2, and collector resistors also it is having similar values. Similarly, VCC is positive and VEE is negative. So by applying KV emitter loop of Q1, see here, emitter loop of Q1 in the sense it will start from this ground RS1, again IB1, after that emitter IE1 to the RE again to IE. See here at this point emitter of first transistor will come, again from this side emitter current of second transistor also will come to this point, and again in these two currents are added and it will go to the VEE ground. Is that clear, all of you? So this is one input loop or emitter loop. So from this emitter loop, what we are having? So IB into RS. See here, this is RS. IB with respect to emitter, it is in negative direction. So we can take negative minus IB into RS. Is that clear, all of you? Are you able to follow? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? I'm
Yes,
getting
sir.
only from 2 persons only. What about remaining? Everyone should respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
See here. See
Yes,
here.
sir.
So VBE is the nothing but VBE is nothing but here base of Q1 to emitter of Q2. That is nothing but base to emitter voltage. That is VBE1. So that is also one voltage. That is also in negative sign minus VBE. Again plus already I told you 2 IE Why 2 IE came? Why 2 IE came here? Can anyone? Here we are having only RE. See here, arrow mark is there, emitter of Q1. Another arrow mark is there, emitter of Q2. So from this emitter IE1, this is IE2. Both currents are will coming to move towards the ground VEE side. Means this current and this current will add towards to make 2 IE. So voltage across RE is nothing but 2 IE into RE. 2 IE into RE. 2 IE into RE. And here we are applying VEE is always negative. Negative into negative will become positive. So VEE is if we are applying negative signal, but in loop there is also one negative symbol. Both will add an VEE. So entire loop equation is minus IB RS minus VBE minus 2 IE RE plus VBE equals to 0. So by solving this one, we are getting IB sorry. So this keep it aside. Since we know transistor logic IC equals to beta IB. Collector current is always beta times of base current, and in any transistor collector current is almost equal to emitter current. So from this we can represent IB is always equals to IE by. Are you following this one? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Following.
Okay. IB is so IB is almost equal to written as IE by IB. So substituting IB value in equation 1. So IB value. So in first term, IB is replaced by IE by beta. So again, make commons all IE terms. Keep aside IE terms. So by separating IE term, IE RS by beta minus 2 RE into VEE minus VBE equals to 0. Okay. In next slide we can see. So where VBE, I think everyone know what is the cut-in voltage of transistor? 0.7 volts. So 0.7 volts for silicon and 0.2 volts for germanium. Also RS here source resistance should be very less than while comparing with emitter resistance. Therefore, from that equation only we can write IE equals to VEE minus VBE by 2 RE. So in this previous we are neglecting IE RE term. So finally IE current is equals to VEE minus VBE by 2 RE. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here clearly what you got, if you see IE equation, IE is nothing but emitter current of Q1 and Q2. So this is nothing but independent of RC. RC is nothing but collector resistance. So IE is entirely independent of collector resistance. Since the voltage drop across See here, VC is nothing but voltage across VC. If you go to the block diagram, see here, VC is nothing but across voltage across collector terminal. So what is the voltage across collector terminal is nothing but IC into IC R1, that is nothing but VC. For three terminals, for transistor three terminals, we are having voltages VB terminal, VC terminal, and VE terminal. So what is VBE? VBE is nothing but VE minus VB. VCE is nothing but VE minus VC. Like the way here, terminal voltage of emitter is always equals to base to terminal voltage, base to emitter voltage, that is VE equals to minus VBE. So VC is nothing but terminal voltage of collector, that is nothing but purely VCC minus ICRE. So VCE is nothing but, already I told you, VC is nothing but VC minus VE. So replace these values. VC is nothing but, so here VCC minus ICRC minus VE is nothing but minus VBE. So minus into minus it is plus VBE. So finally VCE means junction voltage from collector to emitter is nothing but VCC plus VBE plus VBE minus ICRC. See here, VCE is our operating point. Clear all of you? And IE is also our operating point. So these we need to make IE as independent of RC as well as VCE. VCE equals to VCC minus VBE minus ICRC. Listen all of you. So here VCE for both transistors are equal. So means for two transistors we can fix single operating point. That is the DC analysis. If you take a DC analysis for Q1, it is having different operating point. If you make DC analysis for Q2, it may having different operating point. By taking some sort of modifications, that source resistor of two transistors is similar, which is equals to RS, and emitter resistance of two transistors are equal to they should connected in parallel connection, and collector resistance should be equal to the single value, that is RC. So by making these values, what will happen? Both collector current, emitter current is same, and collector to emitter voltage is also same. So this is the VCE and IE are always operating points. So we by using these by taking these arrangements like in 4 steps. So these are the steps we need to make to have similar operating point for Q1 and Q2. Now we can apply for input signals to the transistors. There we can see AC analysis of transistors. Is that clear all of you? DC analysis? Hello?
Yes, sir.
DC analysis అంటే ఏం లేదమ్మా, ఇప్పుడు మనకి కొన్ని అరేంజ్మెంట్స్ చేసుకున్నాం. సోర్స్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ రెండిట్లకి ఈక్వల్ ఉండాలి, ఎమిటర్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ రెండిట్లకి ఈక్వల్ ఉండాలి అని చేసుకున్న తర్వాత IE కరెంట్ అనేది RC మీద డిపెండ్ అవుతుందా లేదా? డిపెండ్ కావట్లేదు కదా. సో ఆపరేటింగ్ పాయింట్ రెండింటికి ఫిక్స్ అయింది. ఓకే, ఫైన్. వాట్ అబౌట్ జంక్షన్ వోల్టేజెస్? జంక్షన్ వోల్టేజెస్ ఆల్సో వీ కెన్ టేక్ ఇట్ యాజ్ ఆపరేటింగ్ పాయింట్. VCE అండ్ IE కదా ఆపరేటింగ్ పాయింట్ అది. సో VE కూడా ఈక్వేషన్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేసుకున్నాం, దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో ఇండిపెండెంట్. So we can move, now we can fix same operating point to the two transistors. There we can apply input signals. So by applying input signals, we can see in AC analysis in next class. So before going to that, everyone should at least refer DC analysis of single transistor so that you can follow all these topics. Or else, otherwise, I will try to explain using a whiteboard by the next class, AC analysis. Is that clear, all of you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you all. We can leave now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.